Hey, this is Stef, and welcome to the Together Moving Forward podcast. Hello, everyone. I'm Stef Vachon, and I'm a human being. Again, welcome to the Together Moving Forward podcast, finally loving and respecting ourselves. This is a podcast for the 2S LGBTQI+ community, along with our friends, allies, and all human beings. As usual, I'm really happy to be here with you for today's episode. To start, I need to say that I'm not a psychologist, a specialist, or someone with a college degree. I'm just a regular guy here to share with all of you and support each other. I won't tell anyone what to do or how to do things. Instead, I'll share my journey. We will all share our journeys together. We'll learn from each other how to move forward. Before we meet today's guest, I want to share a quick update. In the last episode, I mentioned that I had my first skating event last weekend, and I promised to let you know how it went. Just to give you some context, in case you haven't listened to the previous episodes, after 15 years away from the ice, I returned to figure skating last summer. My goal is to compete at the Gay Games in Valencia in 2026. So I've signed up for some competitions to ease back into it. As I said, my first event was last weekend. For my first event, I choose a small regional invitational competition with very few people to keep stress level as low as possible. Still, here's how the experience unfolded. All week feeling excited, but also very stressed out. I was not having a great week on the ice, but I knew what was going on. My husband reminding me every day, why am I doing this? Because I love it. So I realized that I had to take care of little Steph because this is really triggering me in a lot of ways. And it's kind of taking me back into my childhood when I was competing. The way it works is before I go and perform, there's like a 6-minute warm up on the ice. Right when I got on the ice, I started warming up. I couldn't feel my legs at all. So I had a coaching friend that was there supporting me by the boards. So I went to her and I said, look, I can't feel my legs. Like, I don't know what's going on. And then she's like, Steph, look at me, look at me. And I was just like looking around everywhere and all stressed out. And she said, look at me, your legs are right there. They're right underneath you. Just go and jump. I thought it was quite funny. And that's all I needed to hear. And even though I have performed in the past at hundreds and hundreds of shows and competitions, this was like really triggering me and taking me back into when I was a kid. I think it's also by being 15 years away from it. So my little family is there, my husband and my son. And there's even an old student of mine that came to watch and see my performance. And I don't want to go anymore. I'm just like totally scared, more than scared. I just feel like I'm going to get shot or die, but I can't go back. Like, I have to go. Like, what is this going to show to my own son that when you're scared, you give up? And I know this is, this is not the Olympics at all. This is just this really small competition, but I'm just so scared. It's my turn and they call my name and I have to go and take my spot. So the music starts and I start moving. And then I'm like, is this a dream or is this for real? I could really not tell if this was for real or not. And this is when I always does that. I go like into this kind of trance and it feels like I'm on an autopilot. So I went and I did my first jump and it was quite good. And I went, okay, my legs are there. I'm fine. There was even like a moment where it felt like everything stopped that I actually enjoyed and looked around and smiled. At the end, I was really happy. And as the program was going, I was like, oh my God, this is going pretty damn good. So when I came out the ice, my son was there and he was like, I'm so proud of you. You won the gold medal. And then I kept telling him I was alone. I didn't get a gold medal. He's like, no, you got a gold medal. I'm so proud of you. And he did not understand. He just thought they gave me a gold medal because for my participation, right? But for him, it was the gold medal that counted. It was quite cute. So my point is that I just have to keep going at things I'm scared to do. Like starting this podcast, I didn't know at all how to do that, but I don't want any regrets anymore in my life. I've had too many regrets. When I was on a survival mode, I quit so many things, and I've decided now that I was going to go after the things I want to do, even if I'm scared to death. I think that's my way of living now is you keep learning and no more regrets and go after the things that you're scared of because I want to be satisfied and happy that I tried everything no matter what. Okay, now let's talk about today's guests. Our son really wanted a skateboard for his 8th birthday last October. He also wanted to try group lessons, so we enrolled him around the same time. His first coach was Violet. Our son absolutely loved her, and so did I. He loved her so much that when it was time to move up with the next level with another coach, he did not want to at all. He cried and pouted through the entire first session with the new coach. One Saturday, my husband was there with our son at his skateboard lesson, and he texted me saying, "Why don't you ask Violet for your podcast?" And I thought, "Oh, yes." I said, "Could you ask her if she would be interested?" Right away, it was a yes. And here we are. I don't know much about her yet, so I'll be discovering her story along with you right now. I can't wait what she has to share. So I'm with Violet. Thank you very much for being here and welcome to the Together Moving Forward podcast.
Hello.
To start, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Violet. I use she, her pronouns. I am 25 years old. I'm a trans woman. I'm a lesbian. And I'm a skater. And yeah.
A skater, like not an ice skater, because I talk about a lot about ice skating. That's why.
Yeah. I guess I'm used to like my domain is like I
Yeah.
talk to skateboarders, so I say skater. Yeah, I'm a skateboarder.
Yeah, and I did in the intro, talked about how we kind of met because we don't really know each other. But
Yeah.
I've already said that you were our son's first coach in the skateboarding. Could you tell us a little bit more about your childhood? Are you coming out?
So I came out 8 years ago. I'd say like my journey was like when I was a kid, like people would like kids would like bully me and they'd be like, "Oh, you're gay, you're a girl," over and over again, and it's like you can only say that to a kid so many times before like it starts to hit, you know? And I think like when I was about 10, I didn't know about trans people back then. And so like my first conclusion was like I must be gay because people keep telling me that. I know that there's something different about me. And like I know that there's like something like at the time how I conceptualized it was like something wrong with me, right? And so like gay was the answer that had been given to me by other children. And so that's the answer that I went with for a while. And like I didn't come out or anything. And then when I got to high school, I was really scared of getting bullied in high school because I had been bullied a lot in elementary school. And basically, so I started dating girls because I was like, I need to prove to people I'm not gay so that this won't be an issue. And then I did that for a while. And then I got out of high school. I was 17. I was going to CJEP. So like a lot of the old structures keeping me the way that I was weren't existing anymore. And so like I felt like I didn't have to be scared of anyone anymore. So, and also like all of my identifiers no longer applied to me as much, right? Like, cause it's a big time of change, right? I'm like moving into adulthood. And so I started like just like asking myself questions I had never asked myself before. And like one day I was in one of my first CJEP classes and I had basically we had a project. It was a social work class. And I had a project that was like you make a box. On the outside, there's 3 things that people can know about you just by looking at you. On the inside, there's 3 things that people need to get to know you better to know you. Right. And so like I like put a male symbol on there and then I was like talking about like how I felt about being a man and like uh just like I was like, oh, like some of those things apply to me, some of those things don't apply to me. People have expectations of me, you know. And as I'm saying this to the class, I'm like, what if that's not true? Like in my head. And meanwhile I'm like just presenting to this class, right? So I like keep a straight face. I'm still doing that presentation, but I'm also just like panicking a little bit in my head. And like I think for me and a lot of people, once you start asking those kinds of questions, like it's really difficult to like open that box. And so, you know, the over the next, I want to say like year or so, I started like coming out, you know, going through like legal changes, hormones, all of that stuff. Yeah, like recently was 8 years since I came out and like went full time, and like full time is like just like being out everywhere basically. And yeah, like it's the best choice I've ever made for myself in my life. Like the part that was like a choice for me was like whether or not I actualize this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like I could have repressed it, like I could have just kept on going and figured other shit out, like, but for me it just kind of, once I did that, it was just like really good for me. And yeah.
For the next question, what role has community played in your life?
I would say community has played a huge role in my life. Like I think that without my, like without queer community, I would just, I don't know where I would be. I might not be alive. Like I, when I came out, my family was not very supportive, and so now they're more supportive, but like in the past they weren't very supportive. And so I moved out at 17, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like I lived on people's couches. I was fed by my friends. I had emotional support from them, and also like they were the queer community are the people who like were able to answer the questions I had had for a very long time,
Mm-hmm.
and like that was so important. And like, and yeah, so like community has done a lot for me, and my sort of personality kind of meant that I, you know, like I'm a very community oriented person. And like in the past, like I was like a social worker for like queer organizations. Like I worked at Project 10, I worked at Center for Gender Advocacy, and just like helping people access hormones, helping people, you know, navigate all of the legal issues that go into being trans, which is like a lot of them, right? And just like helping people navigate the systems of being trans, and like helping people cope with that, and like providing support, providing like counseling, things like that, right? As I eventually like realized social work wasn't for me, and so I transitioned out of that, and I became, now what I do is I'm a skateboarding interventionist. Like I have a couple of jobs, but that's the one that I identify with the most, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
is like, and it's basically like I do like with your son, like I did like coaching, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is like one of my jobs, but I would consider that like my second job, right? My primary job, I would say, is like as a skateboarding interventionist, which is like psychosocial and community intervention through skateboarding, right?
Wow.
And it's basically just like using skateboarding as a tool for creating community links, for giving people support that they need. And, you know, like, I think that I have an important role in like the queer skateboarding community of Montreal. And also just like women's skateboarding of Montreal, because like I run like a queer skate collective, and that's like we put on events so that people have access, like affordable access, safe spaces in skateboarding, right? Then at JM Court, which is my first job, is like I do. We have like session inclusion, which is like basically like on every Sunday night, it's free if you're a woman or LGBTQ. You go there. We have all this stuff, so cost isn't a barrier to access, and you have a coach on site, which is me, right? And I'll just like I'll personally teach you how to skate. My job is to make sure that there's a good vibe, make sure that like everyone is getting a positive experience out of things. And like I think that, you know, I have an important community role in that, right? Like I make skateboarding accessible for people in a way that it wouldn't inherently be accessible to them. When I started skateboarding, I went to the skate park for the first time. When I got there, I got added to 2 group chats and I got told about a skate collective that I now run, right? You know, having these community resources meant that at times like I've had experiences at the skate park that were very negative, right? Most of the time it's really good, but sometimes people will just yell at me and just like just suck, right? And having a support system, like not just a personal support system, but a community support system, meant that I was able to keep doing that and didn't feel like as discouraged by these like acts of hate, right?
Yeah.
And I like to continue that and provide that in the same way it was provided for me to other people.
Well, congratulations. That's really
Thank you.
good of you to give back to the community. And do you feel like it's giving you something also when you give back?
Absolutely. Like I feel I found a thing that I'm good at. I found a thing that I can see the direct impact it has on people, right? And that makes me feel good. Like I like what I do. You know, part of it I like it because it's skateboarding or whatever, but mostly I like it because it's like it's good for people. And like
Yeah.
I care a lot about people, and this gives me an avenue for like focusing like I was always going to have a community oriented role, but this gave me my community to work with. And that's an amazing feeling. Like I found like my calling for now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. And if I may ask, how is it with your family these
Yeah.
days?
So these days it's a lot better. I think not living with them helps, right? But I think also like I empathize with parents when their kids come out as trans. Like I understand why that would be a difficult reality to adapt to when you don't have the sort of framework for that, right? Like if you're a cis person, you've never thought about this, right? Like when I came out to my mom, she said, I kind of wish you were gay because I would have known what to do with that, right? Which like yeah, like she had thought about this. She was like, if my kid
Yeah.
comes out as gay, like I'm gonna be ready for that. But like she was never ready for me to come out as trans. And like I think for parents, like one of the first things you find out about your kid, like before they're even born or anything, is like first you find out you're gonna have a baby, then you find out the gender. And so like it feels to you like you're like building what you know about this person on this like baseline of facts. And so I understand how it could be like quite jarring to be like this thing that you thought was true is not true. But like in reality, like I'm the same person. Like I'm a different person now than I was 8 years ago, but I would have been either way. Right. And it's just the getting to know myself better. And so like over time with my parents, like it's gotten a lot better because they've had time to adapt to it and to like see that like I'm happier this way. I'm still just me, right? It's just they now know more information about me, just like I knew more information about me. It was hard for a long time. I had to do a lot of advocating for myself, which was really difficult. But over time, like my parents are like very respectful. My siblings are very respectful. It's not even like really a thing anymore, you know, like it's just part of me. And so they don't really like, I'm sure they think about it. They talk about it. I don't know. But like, I think they probably don't think about it as often as they used to. Right. Because they've gotten used to the idea. It's been a long time, you know, like.
Well, that's good. I'm
Yeah.
happy for you. What has been one of your most difficult challenge you've faced?
Yeah, I think shifting from going from a place of like privilege to a place of like less privilege, right? Like I think when I was, you know, before I came out, I was just like a 16-year-old white boy, presumably straight, right? Like, and so like I had never really experienced oppression. Shifting from that to being like an object of hate and debate and so many things that are just like people sometimes they see me and they just absolutely hate me for no reason, right? People think about me like as a concept. They think about trans people as a concept and they're mad about it, right? And
Mm.
like that was never an experience I had had before. And like learning about my own, especially early in my transition, like mortality was a big part of it, right? Because like it's dangerous to be a trans woman. Shifting from that, like from a place of safety to a place of fear, like I think
Mm.
it's like I think fear plays a much larger role in my life than it ever had before, right? Which sucks. Like you know, like I can feel it in the way that I interact with people,
Mm.
like how much my attitude has shifted and how much like I want to trust people. Like I want to believe that people are fine because most people are really chill and like respectful. And even if they have an issue with me being trans, like they're not going to say it to my face. They're going to go home. They're going to puff about it. But like, that's not my problem, right? They're going to be polite to my face.
Mm.
But occasionally people are not polite to my face. Occasionally people are very direct to me about having an issue with me despite not knowing me.
Mm.
And that creates an atmosphere of fear in the rest of my life, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm expecting people to be violent towards me. And I'm expecting strangers to be violent towards me, which is maybe in some ways fair and in some ways not fair, but is also just like a safety precaution, which is hard. Like it's a hard shift to have in my life. And I know that it's going to shift throughout my life, but I think I'm going to feel like this the rest of my life. Like
Mm.
I think like being able to advocate for myself is like so important, right? And like I was thinking about this recently, like, you know, like what is my experience like going to be when I'm old, right? Like
Mm.
very old. Like it gets harder to advocate for yourself when you're old. Like your people will do whatever they want. Like if I'm in a nursing home or whatever, you know, there's still going to be transphobic people in 50 years, you know? And when I get misgendered in the nursing home, you know, am I going to be able to navigate that for myself?
Mm.
And it's like, I don't know. I hope so. And I hope that people are going to be really kind to me. But I think I'm going to have situations just like I have today. But now I can advocate for myself. But later on, when I maybe have a little bit less agency over my life, I think that's going to be a difficult thing to navigate.
I hope it gets better.
Yeah.
We're not right now in it. We're not seeing it right now, but I hope that it gets better.
Yeah, me
And
too.
yeah. And now with everything that is going on today, how do you envision the future for our community?
I think that, you know, like the attitudes towards queer people in general have shifted throughout time. I think sometimes it's going to get better, sometimes it's going to get worse. I think right now it seems like there's a shift in sort of general dialogue that is getting worse than, let's say, 10 years ago. You know, queer people have had a history of resilience, of working together to stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's not going anywhere. And I think that if it gets harder, as it gets harder, we're just going to be better at it. Like, and in the same way that like our like queer ancestors, you know, the people who were queer 20 years ago, you know, and like during like so many different things, they had to be stronger than I have to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we're going to do that. Like, I think that we have done it and we're going to do it. And we're just going to like, queer people aren't going anywhere. And in the face of adversity, we will show resilience and community.
Okay, so what advice would you give to someone just beginning to explore their identity?
I guess like I have more of a response for that for like trans people. Like most of my questions, it's more trans oriented because that's my experience, right? But I mean, the advice I would give is like if you feel that this might be right for you, to even if you are even beginning to think this, right? I think that's worth exploring. And like there are ways to explore that are just small at first. And like it doesn't have to be all or nothing. You don't have to like dive straight in and tell your whole family, tell everyone, and you know, deal with all of that and then maybe be wrong or whatever. There are ways to just be like, okay, well, like the way I started my transition was I would go online and I would talk to strangers and I would be like, yeah, I'm a girl. And like those small things really helped me to see how I felt about being perceived in those ways.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's resources, like there's I think it's called the pronoun closet or something like that. And basically like you just type in some stuff, it'll say some sentences about you, and that'll help you feel how you feel about this thing. And also just like try to find safe people, have conversations about things. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're not, if you're questioning, you're not the only person who's questioning. Try to find groups that exist. Talk to people in your support system if you trust them to talk to them about this. And you can do like there's a bunch of little things. Like I remember like I used to paint my toenails, and that's like the main thing I recommend to like trans women is paint your toenails, because no one's going to see that, and you're just going to have it for yourself, and you're going to see how you feel about that. When you start to understand yourself more and feel like you want more of this, like it's going to be a lot of advocating for yourself, but it's worth it. Like it's absolutely worth it. And create a strong support system that will advocate with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. It's hard. Parts of it are harder than others, but it's genuinely so worth it, because like what else is hard? Like is living as in a way that is not authentic to yourself. You could do that your whole life if you wanted to, but you could also go through a difficult transition period and then a much easier version of your life. Because my life is easier now. Like as much as there's adversity and things like that, like my life is better and easier now that I have transitioned, because I like myself. Like I can build upon myself because I like this base part of my identity, and I am authentic to myself in that. And so everything that I have built has been a result of me transitioning. And I think that if you want to transition, like transition, and it's gonna be good for you. Like it's genuinely very worth it. But yeah, start small, build community, advocate for yourself.
For my last question, who or what inspires you?
I think my friends inspire me a lot. I think everyone who has ever, come out as gay, trans, whatever, like that's inspiring to me. I think specifically people who inspire me are like people with very community oriented roles. When I was a social worker, I worked under Gabrielle Bouchard, who's a trans woman. She was in charge of the Fédération des Femmes du Québec. And she is an amazing activist. She really knows her stuff. She's really on top of it, and she really cares about her community. The other person that inspires me is Frédéric Luyette, who is in a similar role to me. She's a skateboarding facilitator, community-oriented person. It's not her job, but like she's one of the most implicated skaters I know. She was like a woman skater when like you couldn't be a woman skater, and she would like sign up for competitions like under like a boy's name so that she could do it. And like she's still doing it, and I hope that, in I don't know how old she is, but in like 10, 15 years, I will still be doing that in the same way that she is. And she's very established. She has like youth that she taught how to skate that are now like 25, that are my age, Yeah, I think that's awesome. And yeah, so I think that the people who inspire me are really people in community oriented roles, people who, see the issues that they have with connecting to stuff and are like, okay, I'm going to help people overcome that.
Well, good. Thank you so much, Violet, for being with us. And
My pleasure.
It's a great message you're sending to everybody.
Thank you.
And I'll probably see you next Saturday. Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much and take care.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
What an incredible conversation with Violet. Her story is a powerful reminder of resilience, community, and the importance of creating safe spaces for everyone. I'm so grateful she shared her journey with us today. Thank you, Violet, for your honesty, your passion, and for everything you do for the skateboarding and the LGBTQ plus communities. Keep inspiring and keep pushing forward. My dear friends, it's already time to say au revoir for now. But before that, I have something to ask you. Apparently, the month of June, Pride Month, does not exist anymore.
Really?
So, I was thinking, why not put it right in their faces?
Yeah.
I'm asking you guys to take a video selfie of yourself wishing a happy Pride. Just like that. I'll be posting all the videos on our social media, every single one of them, through the entire month of June, every day. It's Pride in your city? Let's do the same. I want to gather as many videos as possible. Come on, guys, let's do this together. Let's show them that we're here, more united than ever. I'll be waiting impatiently for all your videos. Join me next week for another episode of the Together Moving Forward podcast, where we'll continue to explore stories that inspire, empower, and reminds us that we're never alone. Everybody, share this podcast and spread the good news. Remember, solidarity beats hate. The more we unite, the stronger we become. Because at the end of the day, we are all equally human and we all deserve the same rights. One last thing before I go. Put your hand on your heart, all of us together, and repeat after me. My existence is a gift to the world. Yep, my existence is a gift to the world. Our dear friends, see you next week. Ciao.